Hey guys, welcome back to the Early Morning Musician, episode number 3. I'm excited that you're with us. It's good to be back.
Yeah. We're recording the same night that we recorded episode 2, so
Oh, don't tell them. They'll never know.
we're wearing the same
If
clothes.
they're just listening to the audio, they never would have known had you not told them.
Well, Ryan is traveling for work pretty much the entire month of June.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be awesome.
We're doing the early morning musician thing.
I do get to go to Vegas next month, though.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We are
Kinda.
just fitting it all in wherever we can in between the day jobs that we have and the other stuff we have to do. So
Yeah, and tonight's topic is kind of a cooler one, the second conversation. We just wanted to talk a little bit about how we got back into writing, back into music after a fairly extensive break, primarily due to having children, I'd say that was probably most of the reason we stopped. Would you say?
I would say that definitely we would have been freight training, I think, out of desperation to still try to make songwriting work if we had not had children. But having another child really made us pause and think about the deeper questions that we had. Like, are we too old to still be trying to do this? Is this still even a reasonable as parents with children? What are the implications of trying to be musicians with 2 young children? And what does success even look like if you were to be successful as a family? And what does it mean that we've never been successful until now? Should we continue to try? We saw a video tonight where this guy said, you have to stop.
Yeah, it was satire.
But he was like, funny. Your art is bad.
It's terrible. You can't sing.
You can't sing.
So good.
And your family and your parents are humiliated watching you continue to try, and no one's telling you. And we had such a good laugh watching that.
It's funny because watching that, because he's a creator. I follow that guy on TikTok, and he does all kinds of funny videos. He's saying that because he has had that thought in his mind, like, what does my family think that I'm investing so much into these hilarious TikTok videos? Because he's obviously he's not super young. He seems to be like an older guy, and he's like making little 30-second videos to make you laugh. That's hard to do, and look your boomer parents in the face and be like, yeah, I'm not becoming a banker. I'm pursuing TikTok shorts. And that's crazy.
Someone commented on it and said, thank you so much for this. My daughter was leaving to go to art school, but because she saw this, she's now becoming an engineer. Thank you.
So good. I mean, she'll probably make more money, for being honest.
Yeah, and that's one of the implications that we had to really think about was, there are so many things that we could do that could make us money. It could make us more money. And
we've made decent money. I've made pretty good money the past few years. And I think, honestly, making some money, we made enough money we paid off all our debt. We built a custom home. That's crazy. We've been poor folk for the whole go. We got married at 18. We've been poor folk the whole time. And then all of a sudden, I make a fairly significant amount of money at a technology sales job, and we're out of debt. We built a house, and it was are we sure we want to do music? This ain't bad. I can make okay money, and we can go on vacation. We took a big vacation to California and visited a bunch of friends we had out there, and it was awesome. We spent way too much money, but we had it to spend. So I was like, why not? But, then there's that question in the back of your mind, do I want to give this up to do music?
Right. And the time investment. So, we aren't getting any younger. And I was watching a Taylor Swift concert the other night, and she said, I'm 34 years old, which in, pop star years is very, 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 very old. And
you're cool, I'm 32.
Right. Our careers haven't really even started. We're just now starting at the twilight of other people's careers. So there was a lot that was really in the way of us wanting to give this another really good try.
Yeah.
Because the investment is huge. And if you're an early morning musician, then you get that. You're waking up when you don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself out there every day in a way that feels extremely uncomfortable. Every day I post a reel and a YouTube short and a TikTok on our band Geraldine's behalf. And every single time I do it, I think about what people are thinking. Mm-hmm. And there's always probably a more negative tape in my head than even a positive tape. I'm not thinking to myself that my old friends from high school or my old acquaintances or my old church community is looking at that and thinking, I'm so proud.
Yeah. They look
Like,
at it and they're like, oh, she got 3 likes. Oh gosh.
and
Why does she keep doing
thinking
it?
why hasn't she? I was actually tonight. See, we used to be youth leaders, youth pastors, and I saw one of our youth kids had gotten this amazing, like, real adult job, and I was thinking about the Facebook reel that I had posted that day of our band. And I was just face to face with this, like, oh my gosh, if this used to be a little girl sees this, she is probably thinking, what is going on?
Those people. Yeah.
So you're having a lot of these thoughts, and you were at a point last year where I think you were like, I don't know if I really want to keep doing this even.
Yeah, I was maybe at the most sober minded about giving up I had ever been by a long shot because of my success in my career. I felt like a real adult for the first time. I was like, oh yeah, I'm an adult. Like I work a very corporate job. Like there's a real path forward here. The earning potential is literally unlimited. I could see the path. Like, oh, if I take these steps here, when I hit 50, 60 years old, I'm going to be living very comfortably, and my children are going to be very comfortable. And it was appealing and also just sad because it felt like so much less meaningful to me to do that day to day. Like, what does it mean to give every single week of the rest of my life to selling products? That's essentially what it come down to. It was it's a sales job that I have now. And is that actually how I want to spend the time that I have here? Do I want to spend it selling technology, which I don't have any beef with my job. Like, I don't know that there's a better job out there if you want to make good money. Like, it's a great gig. But to do that every day for the rest of my life until I'm 60, and then to just retire and wait till I die, that I don't know. It didn't feel like there was a ton of meaning behind it. So I was like, do I do this? Do I give this up? What do I do? And then we took a vacation that really kind of changed everything for us, I would say.
Yeah. We were asking the question, are we still going to continue to do this? And I think that we were really thinking to ourselves, we need a sign, we really need like something outside of us to let us know if we're on the right track or not, or if we need to give up. Sorry. I have a cold a little bit. And we went into this vacation, I think, believing that something was going to happen that would give us that clarity, and hoping that something was going to happen that would give us that clarity.
See, I went into it different. I went into it expecting to come home and go back into sales and like that to be the career path. That's honestly what I was like. I'm going to go on this vacation. I'm going to get some rest. I'm going to be able to see the situation clearly. And I think I am actually going to pursue sales like for the rest of my life. Like, this is it. I'm going to go get some certifications. I'm going to go like do the thing. And that's what I honestly thought, and it wasn't like I'm 99% sure, but it was like I'm 70% sure that I'm about to do sales for the rest of my life. And I'm 30% sure that I might do music. I might do some music maybe.
Yeah. And we've had the same dream since we were kids. And that was really one of the things that drew us to each other, is that we both were the only people that we had ever met in our small town that both wanted to do music as a career. And we were also super compatible, and I also thought he was super hot, and et cetera, et cetera. So it worked
You're way
out.
more attractive than I am. But everyone on this video is being like, Ryan, she's way hotter than you, for sure.
You're a dime, baby.
Thank you.
But anyway, we have had the same dream this whole time. So for Ryan to decide that he was done would change my life, and I had to be ready to find something else to do as well. So I had been thinking, what kind of stuff, what other stuff besides this lifelong dream that we both had together would I want to give the rest of my life to?
It's such a big question, you know? What are you going to give your whole life to? Like, what are you going to do day to day for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
How do you even pick? That's
I
crazy.
think that most people pick it before we did. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I picked it when I was 10. I feel like the first time I saw someone play electric guitar, I was like, that's it.
You're right.
That's it. I have to find a way to do that with the rest of my life.
I felt the same way when I was a kid. And I think musicians and artists are different in that they typically know at a really, really early age what they want to do. But there is not a path, you know? You can't go to college and then find a job doing any of this stuff. You have to experience the planets aligning for you to do this stuff kind of, or at least that's the way that it seems.
Definitely felt that way.
There's no one that can really hire you into this. So, you know, musicians and artists, I think, oftentimes get into this middle age or, you know, 30s. I was feeling it even in my 20s, this like quiet desperation, like, how do I do this? And what happens if it never happens? And that's where we were. So, you know, that voice just gets louder the longer you do it.
Yeah.
And we went on this trip to California, and
we used to live there. For people who don't know, we lived in Northern California for, what was it, like 5 years? We went to college, I guess you would say, up there. It wasn't really like an accredited college. It was kind of a different thing. So we had a lot of friends. We knew the area really well. And we had moved back to Arkansas with our children to be close to family. And, you know, like I said, we made a little bit of extra money. We decided to go on vacation. We thought like, hey, let's go back to Redding. Let's go back to California. And let's just spend, I forget, we spent like 10 days out there. And we're like, let's just see if we can get some clarity about what we want to do.
Yeah. And we live in Arkansas now. So big difference, you know.
Major difference.
Yeah. And as we were...
There's a lot less teeth here, I feel like.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm, you know, just being honest. There's a lot less teeth here. Just saying. I'm from here, all right? I'm missing a tooth. You're talking to a guy who's missing a tooth? I'm just saying. There's less teeth here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I feel like as we were walking around, so the first night that we were there, we were in Calistoga, and we love wine country. We've had some of the best memories there.
Amazing.
And we were walking around, and I feel like there was this real air of sadness kind of as we were out there. We were trying to enjoy ourselves.
Because it was so beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
It was so beautiful, and it was like, how do I not live here? Like, I lived like an hour from here, and now I live 35 hours from here. Like,
doing a sales job.
Yeah.
Doing the, you know, white picket fence thing that we had never imagined ourselves
we're
doing.
hippies. We're hippies. We just are. Like, we always have been. Like, it has never been about, we need a big house and nice cars and everything. It has always been about, like, we want to do the day-to-day things that we love, and we want to do them together, and we want to do them with our family. Let's do that. And then we just kind of found ourselves here, like, oh, I'm a corporate. Oh, I have a house. That's weird.
Yeah.
You know?
And we're feeling, you know, the magic in the air, but feeling a little bit sad about being displaced from it, and just thinking to ourselves, where have we ended up, and what are we going to do? And we had dinner at a nice restaurant, and then we were walking around the town. Calistoga is pretty small, just walking around the main strip, and you said to me, do you want to go back to the room? And I think I said, like, let's just walk around a little bit more. And there was some music playing down the block, and I said, let's go follow the music. And
well, you had actually told me before we went on vacation, you're like, hey, I think that night that we're in Calistoga, I think there might be some live music or something somewhere nearby. So I think we like knew, and then we like heard it in the distance, and we were like, oh yeah, that there's a band playing down the block.
Yeah, that thing that we saw on Facebook.
Do we want to go do that? And actually what I said to you at the time was like, the band probably sucks. Like, let's not. I didn't even want to look at it, you know, because I was like, I was a little bitter. I was like, I don't know if I can look at it. Like, to go see this cool band, they're in Calistoga living my dream.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
And I was salty. So I was like, maybe let's just go back to the room.
Yeah.
And you were
said,
like, let's not do that.
Yeah, you said, I'm good. Like, I don't really want to do it. But if you want to do it, you know, we can. And I just wanted, you know, to prolong the experience. We had just driven forever to get there, and the sun wasn't down yet. So we ended up in this park. And when we show up, it was obvious that it was not for tourists. It was
not for tourists.
It was a completely like locals event, and they looked like they did that together every week. And turns out that during the summers they do.
Oh, it was amazing. Everyone had like it was like out of a storybook. It was like it was families, obviously, like grandparents, their children, and their grandchildren, and they had like checkered. I don't know what you call it, like
Picnic
like picnic
blankets.
blankets, and then they all had, of course, we're in wine country, so they all have wine, like wines that you've never heard of before. Not that I'm a connoisseur, but you're assuming that it's probably from wine country. They're all eating fancy cheeses, and everyone's dancing and laughing, and it is like, honestly, I was starting to think like, is this a cult? Like, did we just stroll into a place where a cult is meeting? Because this feels way too
Intimate.
enjoyable, way too intimate for us to just be walking up into it.
Yeah. We obviously didn't belong, and everybody was hugging each other. Everybody knew each other.
So happy.
So happy.
Yeah.
And families were together,
Yeah.
and the band is playing on stage, and we're like, oh, this is a different vibe than we expected. You know?
I remember men dancing. That struck me because we're from Arkansas. Like, men don't do a lot of dancing. You know, like I don't think other than like in high school, like slow dancing, I've never like danced joyfully. Definitely not in public.
At homecoming, you did the oak tree.
Yeah, I did the oak tree, which I'm still trying to forget. But these men were dancing with their wives, and they were so happy. And I was like, what is this place? Like, I can't even believe this exists.
Yeah, so we were definitely interested. We were the only people there without lawn chairs or blankets. So we just kind of like plopped down on the wet grass and tried not to look at anybody. And it was in that moment that we heard the band on stage that we had not really been listening to say "Back to Arkansas."
Yeah.
And "Back to Arkansas" really caught our ear, obviously, because you don't hear about Arkansas in California, much less in Calistoga.
Never, literally never.
And so we kind of looked at each other and laughed, and then we looked back at the band, and then we looked at each other again. And when we looked at each other again, we were staring at each other like, wait.
Does this mean something?
What?
What's happening?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
And then we tuned in, kind of everybody else disappeared, and we tuned in on what was happening on stage. And it was this kind of late 30s looking guy
Yeah.
and lady, just the two of them making music. He was playing his guitar and singing. She had all these auxiliary instruments, you know? So
Yeah.
she was playing like tambourines, and she had like a little keyboard maybe.
Yeah, they
and-
were like a folky pop kind of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
trying to think of a band that popped off that people would know. There was like a season of this, like between 2010 and 2015, where like the folky pop. It was kind of like around the time Mumford and Sons did a thing, and like you heard a lot of like mandolins and banjos and stuff. All of a sudden, like made it into modern pop music, and they kind of were along that genre. So
Definitely.
it worked for the environment. It was like it was good. It was good. I see why they brought him in. But anyway,
Yeah, it was like adventure music.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was really good.
And this guy, we tune in, and this guy is singing about trying to find contentment, traveling with his family, trying to figure out how to do his dream, and going back and forth between California and Arkansas.
Yeah.
And it seemed so oddly specific.
So specific. It was insane.
Yeah. So we didn't say anything to each other. We just kind of waited. And as the songs kept coming, this guy started to illustrate his personal journey with I have this thing that I love to do. How do I find contentment between this thing that I love to do and the dreams that I've always had and the responsibilities that I have in life and the things that are calling me here at home?
Yeah.
And his next song was kind of about laying things down and realizing that love and family are the most important things in life, which I feel like is what we had learned and experienced for the last 5 years.
That was the choice that we had made. You
Yeah.
know, like things were we were in a tough season in California. My job wasn't going well in California. We were pursuing music careers. That wasn't really taking off. And
No.
we had a kid, and we were just struggling.
Yeah.
And so we moved back because we felt like we've got to have a healthy family before we have a career. And as this guy's singing, it's like, wow, that is exactly the choice we just made, was to move
Yeah.
back to Arkansas and pursue family first,
Yeah.
to have a healthy unit, and then to go from there.
So he's like, I realized that at the end of my dreams that, being here with my family is all I'll ever need. And I think that we're probably both choking back tears.
Oh,
And
for sure.
then he says, this is our last song. We realized that we had shown up, towards the end of their set. And as he goes into his last song, he says, even though I ultimately learned that like my family is all I need, this is what I love to do. And I think everybody should have something that they love to do. So whatever that is for you, go do it. And he sings this chorus out, and the chorus was, go do what you love, do everything that you've been dreaming of. And when that started to happen,
Gosh, made me emotional right now.
me too, a little bit.
I don't think we can post this.
Aw.
Just kidding.
He just sings this anthem out over us, that says like, once you find contentment, figure out a way to go and do what you love. And stop.
I know. You're doing it. You're like, oh, dear God, over there. Stop it. Gosh.
So
it was so good. It was such a good moment.
Yeah. We knew
Storybook moment.
Yeah. We knew that we had received the sign that we were looking for, and we were so grateful. And, we've had these moments before where we really feel like God is talking to us, and we had been missing those for a while. That had been the source of kind of the pain and the confusion, is like, are we just kind of out here trying to figure this out by ourselves?
Yeah, for sure.
And, even though we're parents and even though we're grown-ups, it's crazy how nobody like tells you that you still feel like a kid when you're this age. Mm-hmm. You really don't know what you're doing. And I don't know if that ever goes away. And that desire for guidance never goes away. And we looked at each other, both, crying.
For sure.
And I said, do you want to dance? And you said, yeah. And we got up and we stumbled all over each other and cried. And that was the compelling, defining moment that said to us, it's time to go home and find a way to do what you love.
Yeah, for sure. I remember I went up, we went up to him at the end because it was like, it felt like we got to go say hi. It was such a small, intimate setting. And like we walked up and we were like, wow, guys, y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. And I didn't know what to say. So I was just like, we're also musicians. And we kind of are wondering whether or not we should try to do music. And we kind of realized that, like the man and this lady, they're married. And like we look over at the merch table, and it was like his daughters. He's like, yeah, those are my kids over there. And my other daughter's back home. She's in school, blah, blah, blah. And we were like, yeah, like we want to do something like this someday. And he was like, oh yeah, you can definitely do it. Like you just do it. You just do it. And I was like, okay, like you just do it. And he was like, so where's your songs? Where can I listen to your stuff at? And at the time I was like, I don't have any. Like, and it was just this clear moment that like, okay, that's the next step. You got to have some music now.
Yeah.
So then we came home, and it was no longer a question of like, do we? It was a question of like, how?
Yeah.
How do we fit it? How do we fit it in the morning? How do we fit it in the night? How do we fit it, on the weekends? And how do we do it in a way that is sustainable? Because obviously we can't throw everything out the window and just like, all right, we're just going to sell all of our stuff now and pursue it. But like, how do you, in wisdom, pursue the thing that you actually want to do in life while like prioritizing your children and your marriage and your finances? Everyone knows that you're broke when you're a musician. So like, how do you not be totally broke, but still make music happen? How do you make it realistic?
Yeah.
And we came home and we started building a system of, well, here's how we're going to write. Here's when we're going to write. Here are going to be the steps every single time. Here's what we're going to use to mix. Here's how we're going to master it. And, it probably, I think it took us maybe 3 months, but at the end of 3 months, we had written like 6 or 7 like demos that were good. Like we were like, wow, we love these demos. And we knew that like, oh, this is going to work. And then January of this year, we started releasing music, and it's just, we've been punching the gas ever since. And it's been a blast. We've loved it.
Yeah. And when we went up to that merch table, their T-shirts said "Straight from the Ozark Mountains."
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and Brian was like, Nashville? And I was like, I don't think the Ozark Mountains are in Nashville. I think that it's like an Arkansas thing. And we said, when we got to them, we said, where are you from? And they said, we're from Arkansas, which is where that lyric came from, back to Arkansas that he had sang in the beginning.
They live like an hour from us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And we met that night in Calistoga, the one first day that we got there and the one day that they were there. And, we have faced a lot of resistance since then that has been, even tonight, I was telling Ryan, we put our kids to bed. I've had just a really tired couple of days. And after putting the kids to bed, I don't know if any of you guys are parents, but when you lay down with your kid, it gets real hard to like get up.
You especially. I don't have that. Like when I lay down with kids, I'm like, get me out of this bed. Like it's not comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're like, you're gonna come wake you up a lot.
Yeah. So I get out of bed. It's 8:30. We've done the full day and I've got to put on clothes because I was not wearing like jeans like I'm wearing right now. I was wearing like pajamas through the night.
This is so fake, guys. We're faking you out right now.
I did put on some jeans for you guys. And, here it's almost 10 o'clock now. And everything inside of me we woke up at, like I said in our last podcast, we woke up at 5:45 this morning to record vocals, and everything inside of me tonight did not want to come do this. And I thought, how can I push this off? How can I not do this? And I had this moment where I just thought, maybe no one's going to listen to this, and maybe this isn't going to be worth it, and maybe none of this is real, and maybe all of this investment, that it comes like a wave. It's not really all of these individual thoughts. It just comes like a wave of like discouragement or like defeat sometimes. And it just hit me in like fatigue. And I was like, I don't want to do it. But Calistoga, when it comes up, it's so potent, that memory. And I think it's even the screensaver on your phone. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little sign from Calistoga.
Yeah, I got a sign from Calistoga on my background of my phone, and I got these like 8 things that I felt like I heard while I was there, and there's like a note on my phone. I just read it every day. And so if you're an artist and you're struggling to create, go get alone and find God and find your Calistoga.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you guys for joining us for episode 3. We're looking forward to seeing you next time.